September is not just another month. It is the month where destiny moves, the month where illusions collapse, the month where love itself demands truth. A final portal has opened, the last passage before reunion, and when this portal activates, nothing can remain the same. The feminine feels it in her body, the release, the surrender, the rise of sovereignty. The masculine feels it in his soul, the collapse of distractions, the shaking of everything false. This is not just energy, this is a doorway, a threshold that will decide whether you step into union or stay behind in cycles that no longer serve you. Because after this September shift, there is no going back. Why September carries the energy of endings and beginnings. On the twin flame journey, every month carries its own vibration. But September is unlike any other. It is the 9th month of the year, and in the language of energy and numerology, 9 always represents both a conclusion and a threshold. It is the ending of cycles, the final release of what no longer serves, and at the same time, it is the preparation for a new beginning. September is the closing of a book and the opening of a new one. And for twin flames, it marks a moment where destiny takes the lead. This is why so many of you feel the energy of intensity as September arrives. The feminine feels old wounds surface one last time, not to punish, but to purge. She may feel waves of doubt, fear, or exhaustion rising out of nowhere. These are not setbacks. They are the final remnants of shadow being cleared from her field. She is being asked to let go of every last attachment to fear, abandonment, and control, so that she can enter the portal of love with a clean heart. For the masculine, September comes as a shaking. Structures he thought were stable begin to collapse. Jobs, relationships, routines, or beliefs that once felt unshakable suddenly feel empty or even unbearable. The illusions that once gave him safety now feel like cages. This collapse is not cruelty, it is initiation. It is the universe breaking down the walls he built around himself, so he can finally face the truth of who he is and what he feels. Why does this all happen in September? Because the 9th month is a universal symbol of birth after labor. Just as the human cycle of pregnancy reaches completion in 9 months, so too does the soul reach a point of readiness to give birth to something new. September carries that vibration for the collective. It presses both the feminine and masculine into labor pains, contractions of endings, so that the new can finally emerge. On the twin flame path, this means karmic cycles are brought to the surface for closure. Old relationships that once seemed unbreakable suddenly dissolve. Emotional patterns that played out for years suddenly lose power. Energetic cords that kept both counterparts tied to illusions finally begin to cut. It can feel chaotic, but chaos always precedes creation. The tearing down of the old is what clears space for the new. The feminine experiences this as a final call to sovereignty. She feels the pull to release any lingering chase, any last drop of dependence on the masculine's actions for her sense of worth. She is called to step into her mission more fully, to embody her light without hesitation. This shift is not only for her, it is the vibration that helps anchor the union field itself. When she stands in her wholeness, she magnetizes the masculine back to truth. The masculine, on the other hand, experiences September as the breaking of his false foundations. He may feel the loss of relationships that no longer align, the collapse of roles that no longer define him, or the sudden realization that the life he has built cannot satisfy his soul. These endings are painful, but they are sacred, because only in the emptiness of what crumbles can he finally feel the undeniable call of the feminine, the one truth that has always been there, waiting beneath the noise. This is the dual energy of September. It ends what was never meant to last, and it begins what was always written. For twin flames, it is the closing of the chapter of separation, illusion, and avoidance, and the opening of the chapter of reunion, clarity, and divine alignment. So if you feel heavier emotions rising, if you see doors closing suddenly, if you experience endings you didn't plan, remember, this is not punishment. This is the clearing. This is the 9th month energy doing what it must, ending the old so the new can begin. September is the month of destiny's hand. It is the moment when the universe calls both counterparts into alignment through whatever endings and beginnings are necessary. And when you see it this way, you realize the very storms you fear are the winds carrying you into union. Every twin flame journey reaches a moment where the universe says, now, no more waiting, no more illusions. It is time. September carries that moment, and it manifests as what many feel to be the final love portal. This is not just another energetic gateway. It is the culmination of everything the feminine and masculine have endured. It is the point of no return, a cosmic doorway that reveals whether both are ready to step into union or remain stuck in cycles that can no longer survive. But what is a love portal? It is an energetic alignment, a window in time where the veils thin and the vibration of union becomes more accessible than ever. During these periods, the universe amplifies the pull between the feminine and masculine, collapsing illusions, intensifying synchronicities, and forcing both to face truths they can no longer run from. The September portal is not only about romance, it is about destiny. It is about souls being pushed into alignment so that their mission on Earth can finally activate. For the Divine Feminine, the final love portal is an invitation into her highest form of sovereignty. This is the stage where she realizes that chasing, waiting, or clinging no longer has power. She feels the call to surrender fully, not in weakness, but in strength. She begins to embody her essence unapologetically, living her mission, radiating love without fear. Her energy shifts from longing to magnetism, from dependence to embodiment, and this shift sends ripples through the bond, drawing the masculine closer without her needing to move at all. For the Divine Masculine, this portal feels like collapse. The illusions he relied on are stripped away. Karmic relationships begin to crumble. False stability falls apart. He may feel his world shaking beneath him, but what is truly happening is the removal of everything that blocked him from union. The feminine's energy, now anchored in truth, acts as a beacon. He feels pulled toward her in ways he cannot resist. This is not manipulation or force. It is resonance. The portal exposes him to the truth he has avoided, and it becomes undeniable. She is the one, and always has been. The final love portal also affects the external reality. Synchronicities multiply with an intensity that cannot be ignored. Dreams become vivid, sometimes prophetic. Both may feel physical sensations of energy surging through their bodies, heart palpitations, waves of heat, pressure in the crown or third eye. These are not random symptoms. They are signs that the union field is being activated. The universe uses these energetic shifts to prepare both counterparts for the physical manifestation of reunion. What makes this September portal so powerful is its finality. It does not leave room for lingering illusions. Old patterns cannot survive within it. Karmic ties dissolve under its light. Half-hearted choices collapse. Both the feminine and masculine are placed at a crossroads. Step into alignment, or watch everything that no longer resonates with truth fall away. Either way, the journey will never look the same after this. For those who are ready, this portal accelerates reunion in ways that feel almost miraculous. Contact may be restored after years of silence. Physical meetings may occur suddenly, with divine timing so precise it feels impossible to be chance. For others, it may mark the final release of karmic attachments, clearing the last block before union can anchor. The final love portal is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. It is proof that the waiting was never in vain, that every tear had purpose, that every silence was sacred. It is the universe saying, "You are ready. Step through, step into the love that was written for you from the beginning." So if you feel the intensity rising this September, if synchronicities flood your life, if emotions surge, if endings and beginnings collide, know this: you are standing at the doorway. The final love portal has opened, and once you walk through, nothing will ever be the same. How the feminine is transformed through this shift. For so long, the divine feminine has carried the weight of the connection. She has been the anchor, the mirror, the one who feels first, heals first, and awakens first. This role has been both a blessing and a burden. Blessing because it awakened her spiritual gifts, her intuition, and her heart. Burden because it forced her to face pain and longing that often felt unbearable. But the September portal changes everything for her. It is the moment where the feminine is no longer defined by waiting, but by becoming. The transformation begins with surrender. In the past, she may have confused surrender with weakness, thinking it meant giving up or losing hope. But this portal teaches her the deeper truth. Surrender is power. It is the act of releasing fear, control, and obsession, and stepping into her divine sovereignty. She realizes that chasing or clinging does not create union. It blocks it. Union is birthed from alignment, not from effort. And so she lets go, not because she no longer cares, but because she finally understands the bond cannot be broken. As she releases control, her energy shifts dramatically. What was once heavy with longing becomes light with freedom. What was once desperate becomes magnetic. She radiates peace, confidence, and self-love, and this new vibration transforms the entire field. The masculine feels the shift instantly. Without the weight of her fear pressing on him, he begins to feel the purity of the bond. What once overwhelmed him now draws him in. Her detachment is not rejection, it is invitation. It is the opening of the door. The feminine is also transformed emotionally. She no longer sees silence as abandonment, but as space for her to grow. She no longer sees distance as rejection, but as a mirror for her to deepen her trust. She stops asking, "When will he come?" and instead affirms, I know it is written. This inner shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Because when she stops vibrating in lack, the universe responds by bringing her abundance. When she stops vibrating in fear, union becomes inevitable. Spiritually, the September portal awakens her to the truth of her mission. She realizes her journey is not only about reunion with the masculine, it is also about reunion with herself, her soul, her purpose. She feels a stronger call to share her gifts, to embody her light, to live her truth boldly, and in doing so, she not only elevates herself, but also uplifts the entire field of the connection. Her mission is not separate from union. It is what creates the conditions for union to anchor. Physically, she may notice changes too. Waves of energy coursing through her body, moments of deep exhaustion followed by bursts of clarity, heightened intuition, and sensitivity to the unseen. These are all signs of her vibration upgrading, preparing her to hold the higher frequency of sacred union. Her body is aligning with the love she has always carried in her soul. Above all, the feminine is transformed by trust. She steps out of the cycle of doubt and despair and into the knowing that she was never truly abandoned. She realizes that the masculine's silence was never rejection, it was reflection. That his distance was not dismissal, it was preparation. She understands that every moment of pain was part of a greater design, pushing her into her sovereignty so that she could stand as the true mirror of unconditional love. The September portal, then, is her liberation. It is the moment she finally puts down the weight she has carried and chooses to walk in freedom. She no longer waits for union to feel whole. She becomes whole, and by becoming whole, she magnetizes union. This is her transformation, from seeker to sovereign, from wounded to warrior, from waiting to embodying. And when she rises like this, the masculine cannot help but feel it. The field changes. The energy pulls him closer, and the very absence that once felt like abandonment becomes the spark that ignites reunion. The feminine does not lose by letting go. She wins by embodying what she has always been, the living essence of love. How the masculine is awakened by the collapse of illusion. For much of the journey, the divine masculine has tried to live inside illusions. Illusions of safety, illusions of control, illusions of a life that looks normal on the outside but feels empty inside. He runs toward relationships that are convenient, careers that give him status, routines that distract him from the ache in his soul. For a time, these illusions seem to work. They keep him comfortable. They let him believe he can bury the bond, silence the pull, and ignore the voice of his feminine calling inside of him. But September changes everything. The energy of this month, amplified by the final love portal, refuses to let him hide any longer. One by one, the structures he built begin to collapse. Relationships he once clung to start to crumble. Work that once gave him meaning feels hollow. Distractions that numbed him lose their power. What once looked like stability now feels like a prison. And as the illusions collapse, the truth rises with undeniable force. He has always been running from himself and from the love that was meant for him. The collapse is painful. For the masculine, it feels like losing control, losing safety, losing identity. He may resist at first, trying harder to hold on to old patterns. But the more he resists, the heavier the pressure becomes. The universe intensifies the lessons until he can no longer deny the truth. The feminine's energy, no longer chasing or clinging, acts as a mirror. He feels her sovereignty. He feels her detachment. And for the first time, he realizes what it means to lose her presence, not because she has abandoned him, but because she has finally chosen herself. This awakening shakes him to his core. The illusions collapse not to destroy him, but to free him. Every false attachment is stripped away so that he can finally see the one connection that has never left him. He realizes that the comfort he clung to was never love. It was fear disguised as stability. He understands that no one else ever mirrored his soul the way she did. And in this revelation, he is awakened. He cannot run anymore because running only deepens the emptiness. He cannot hide anymore because the signs follow him everywhere. He cannot deny anymore because his soul won't allow it. This awakening often shows up in unexpected ways. He may dream of her with an intensity that feels more real than waking life. He may hear her name or see reminders of her everywhere. He may feel sudden waves of emotion, grief, longing, love that he cannot explain. These are not random. They are the aftershocks of the illusions breaking down, making room for truth. The masculine is being pushed into alignment, whether he feels ready or not. What makes this September portal so powerful for him is that it gives him no more escape routes. He cannot hide in silence because the silence itself becomes unbearable. He cannot hide in distance because the distance only intensifies the pull. He cannot hide in distractions because nothing satisfies his soul anymore. The collapse corners him into facing what he has avoided, the bond with his feminine and the mission they share. But with the collapse comes liberation. When the old illusions finally break, the masculine begins to feel lighter. He begins to feel more like himself than he has in years. The fear that once paralyzed him starts to lose its grip. The truth that once terrified him begins to feel like home. And slowly, he steps into the awakening that was always written for him. That his feminine is not just a love, but his mirror, his counterpart, his destiny. This is why the collapse of illusion is not cruelty. It is mercy. It is the universe stripping away everything false so that he can finally live in truth. And as painful as it feels in the moment, it is also the breakthrough he has been waiting for. Because only when the illusions fall can he see clearly. Only when the masks break can he finally step into the love that was always his. The masculine does not awaken because he is forced. He awakens because when everything else falls away, love is the only thing left standing. On the twin flame path, signs are never random. They are the language of the universe, the whispers of destiny reminding you that even when everything looks still, the journey is moving forward. And during the September portal, these signs don't just appear. They multiply, intensify, and become impossible to ignore. They are confirmations that the separation is ending, that the work you have done in silence has shifted the field, and that reunion is no longer a distant dream, but an unfolding reality. One of the most powerful signs during this portal is synchronicity. Numbers repeat with uncanny precision. 11, 11, 22, 22, 7, 17, or combinations that hold personal meaning for you and your counterpart. These numbers may appear on clocks, receipts, license plates, or random pages of books. To the mind, it feels like coincidence. To the soul, it feels like recognition. Yes, this is alignment. Yes, the universe is orchestrating the timing. Yes, you are closer than you think. Dreams are another sacred channel. During this portal, the divine feminine and masculine may dream of each other with such vividness that it feels more real than waking life. These dreams may carry conversations they haven't had in the physical, moments of reconciliation, or even glimpses of future encounters. Often, they wake with the lingering sensation of the other's presence, a reminder that their souls are already in contact, preparing for what is to come in the material. Physical sensations also act as divine signs. The feminine may feel sudden waves of heat or pressure in her heart chakra, as if her body is expanding to hold more love. The masculine may feel restless, unable to escape the pull, toward her energy. Both may experience moments of electricity running through their bodies, sudden bursts of emotion, or the sense that the other is near even when physically distant. These are not illusions. They are proof that the union field is activating, syncing their vibrations closer and closer. But perhaps the clearest signs come through shifts in reality. Karmic cycles that have dragged on for years may suddenly collapse within weeks. External circumstances may align in ways that defy logic. Travel plans that place them in the same city, mutual connections that resurface, opportunities that create openings for contact. The universe orchestrates what the mind could never plan, showing that destiny is at work. For the feminine, these signs often arrive just when she has surrendered, the moment she releases control and rests in trust. The synchronicities flood her reality as reassurance. For the masculine, the signs often show up as disruptions, breakdowns in the false structures he built. Both experiences are different expressions of the same truth. The bond is moving, and reunion is drawing near. It is important to remember that signs are not distractions. They are confirmations. They are not meant to make you chase harder, but to anchor you deeper in trust. When you see the numbers, when you feel the sensations, when the synchronicities unfold, take them as proof that the invisible is becoming visible. These are not random coincidences. They are the universe showing you that the reunion is no longer an if, but a when. And here is the most important part. These signs intensify because the pace of the journey is accelerating. What once took years now happens in months. What once felt stagnant now shifts rapidly. The September portal doesn't just give hope, it sets the stage for manifestation. It clears karmic debris, amplifies magnetic pull, and creates openings for the physical to align with the spiritual. So if you are seeing the signs everywhere, don't doubt them. Don't brush them aside. Let them remind you that you are not walking this journey alone. The universe is guiding every step. The signs are not there to tease you. They are there to show you that the reunion is already in motion. When the signs multiply like this, it can only mean one thing. The bond is accelerating. The distance is closing. The veil is thinning, and what was once only felt in the soul is preparing to manifest in the flesh. The divine signs do not promise, they confirm. And what they confirm is this: the reunion is near, and nothing can stop what was written from the beginning. Why karmic cycles are ending now. Every twin flame journey is marked by karmic cycles, loops of lessons relationships, and experiences that must be completed before union can anchor. These cycles are not punishments, they are classrooms. They are the mirrors that reveal wounds still unhealed, shadows still unacknowledged, and patterns still holding power over the soul. But when the September final love portal opens, something shifts dramatically. The karmic cycles that once seemed endless begin to collapse with speed and finality. Why now? Because the field of energy between the divine feminine and masculine can no longer sustain distortion. The vibration of union is pure, sacred, and uncompromising. It cannot be built on half-truths or attachments that are rooted in fear. As this portal intensifies, anything that is not aligned with unconditional love begins to crumble. Karmic ties lose their grip. Old contracts dissolve. Situations that once felt unmovable suddenly fall apart because the soul has graduated from those lessons. For the feminine, this often manifests as release. She may feel a sudden disinterest in people or patterns that once triggered her. What used to spark longing or pain now feels irrelevant. The portal amplifies her sovereignty, reminding her that her worth is not dependent on the masculine's choices, nor is her destiny tied to anything less than truth. The karmic cycles of chasing, doubting, or overgiving begin to end, and with that, she steps into the vibration of alignment. For the masculine, the ending of karmic cycles is more disruptive. The relationships he clung to for comfort begin to unravel. The roles he played for validation stop working. The routines he used as escape lose meaning. What once felt like stability now feels suffocating. This collapse forces him to confront the truth he avoided, that he cannot build a life on fear or illusion. The karmic cycle ends because the soul no longer allows it. The portal accelerates this process, creating circumstances that strip him of what is false, so he can finally embrace what is real. These endings can be painful. Friendships may dissolve, jobs may end, breakups may occur, but beneath the grief lies liberation. The karmic cycle was always temporary, a stepping stone to growth. And when its purpose is complete, holding on becomes impossible. The universe intervenes, removing attachments that no longer resonate, clearing the field for union. The September portal intensifies this process because it carries the vibration of finality. It is the 9th month, the number of completion. What has been carried for years must now be laid down. The portal acts as a spiritual catalyst, creating momentum that closes out cycles for good. That is why the energy feels so heavy and chaotic at times. Endings overlap with beginnings, grief blends with hope, and the ground beneath your feet feels unstable. But this instability is the signal that karmic ties are breaking. Another reason karmic cycles are ending now is because both counterparts are being pushed into their mission. Twin flames are not meant to stay stuck in lessons forever. They are meant to embody love and share it with the world. Karmic attachments delay that mission, keeping both trapped in loops of fear and illusion. But this portal accelerates the timeline, forcing both the feminine and masculine into alignment with their higher purpose. The soul cannot afford to linger any longer. The time is now. The signs of karmic endings are clear. Relationships that once held power lose significance. Emotional triggers fade. Cycles of silence shift. And both counterparts feel an undeniable pull toward truth. These endings may feel harsh, but they are the very proof that the journey is moving forward. Without closure, reunion cannot manifest. The portal ensures closure, whether the ego feels ready or not. So if you feel like parts of your life are falling apart, if connections are dissolving, if old patterns are resurfacing only to finally break, know this: it is not the end, it is the clearing. The karmic cycles are ending now because they must. Because your soul is no longer in resonance with them. Because union is too close to allow distractions to remain. The truth is simple. Karmic cycles end when their lessons are learned. And this September, the universe declares lesson complete. The final love portal is not just about reunion, it is about liberation. Liberation from everything false, everything heavy, everything that stood in the way of love. And when the karmic cycles collapse, only truth remains. And in that truth, union can finally manifest. Every twin flame journey is marked by turning points, moments where the energy shifts so dramatically that there is no returning to what once was. September's final love portal is one of those moments. It is not just a passing wave of energy or another test in disguise. It is a threshold. Once you cross it, the landscape of your journey changes forever. Nothing will be the same, because nothing false can survive what this portal brings. The purpose of this portal is simple yet profound: to strip away everything that does not belong to love. For the feminine, it means releasing every last fragment of fear, doubt, or need for control. For the masculine, it means watching the collapse of illusions that kept him bound to false stability. For both, it means being forced into truth, a truth that has always been there, buried beneath layers of resistance and shadow. After this portal, the feminine is not who she was before. She no longer waits anxiously for signs of progress. She no longer crumbles under silence. She no longer doubts her worth when faced with distance. She has become sovereign, radiant, magnetic, the living embodiment of unconditional love. She realizes that she never needed confirmation from the masculine to know her power. And in that realization, she sets herself free. This freedom is not detachment in bitterness. It is detachment in faith. And that faith transforms everything. The masculine, too, is no longer the same. The collapse of illusions shakes him into awakening. He cannot return to karmic cycles that no longer feed his soul. He cannot hide behind roles or relationships that once provided comfort but now feel hollow. He is left with truth, raw, unfiltered, undeniable truth. And in that truth, he sees the feminine for who she truly is, not just a person he loves, but his mirror, his destiny, his counterpart. This realization may terrify him at first, but it also liberates him. Because once he admits the truth, he can no longer live in denial. For both counterparts, the external world reflects this shift. Circumstances align in ways that make reunion not just possible, but inevitable. Endings accelerate, opportunities open, synchronicities become undeniable. The portal reshapes their reality so that what once seemed far away begins to unfold in the physical. This is why so many describe this time as chaotic yet miraculous, because endings and beginnings overlap, creating a sense of both loss and rebirth. The message of this portal is clear. The waiting phase is closing. The cycles of endless lessons are ending. The universe has brought both the feminine and masculine to a point where the only way forward is truth, and in truth, union becomes the natural outcome. It is not forced, not begged for, not manipulated. It is magnetized because the field is finally clean enough to hold it. But with this gift comes responsibility. After the portal, you cannot go back to who you were before. You cannot shrink into fear once you've tasted freedom. You cannot cling to illusions once you've seen the truth. You are being called to embody the love you came here to anchor, not just for your union, but for the world, because the purpose of twin flames has always been greater than romance. It is about carrying the vibration of unconditional love into a planet that desperately needs it. So let this September portal be your initiation. Let it strip you, refine you, awaken you. Let it end what must end and birth what must begin. Trust that every loss is clearing the way for a greater gain. Trust that every silence was a preparation for truth. Trust that every delay was never denial. It was divine timing bringing you to this very moment. The final message is this: after this portal, the story is different. You are no longer walking in circles. You are moving in alignment. You are not waiting for love. You are embodying it. And in that embodiment, reunion becomes destiny manifest. Nothing will be the same after this portal because nothing false can survive it. Only love remains, and love is all that was ever real.